There's true crime, and then there's the kind that slips into something darker, something that feels almost supernatural. One is grounded in evidence. The other? More like belief, fear, or something unexplainable. But when the two collide in a single case, it can create stories that are not just terrifying, but unforgettable. And today on True Crimes by Dominic, we're diving into 5 haunted true crime cases of those twisted blends of murder and the macabre. Before we begin, make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who loves unsettling true stories. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll tell you what to comment on when we get to the end. Let's get into it. Number 5, Sean Sellers. I didn't come here to ask for justice. I came here to beg for mercy. Most killers try to hide their darkness, but Sean Sellers, he wore his like a badge of honor. He was born in Oklahoma, a state where religion runs deep. But even as a child, Sean was drawn to the opposite side of everything he was raised to believe. By high school, Sellers had gone far beyond teenage rebellion. He was fully immersed in Satanism. He met a girl who introduced him to a witch. That's where it began. She told me how to do it, Sean said. She told me how to set things up. I'll never forget it. I laid down and I began to pray to Satan, just like she told me to. I had to renounce God. He carried the Satanic Bible in his backpack and bragged about rituals, even drinking his own blood. His personal notebook was filled with chilling entries, like this one. I renounce God. I renounce Christ. I serve only Satan. To my enemies, death. This wasn't a phase. Sean believed he was possessed. He spoke of dark figures whispering in his ear, unseen forces guiding his hand. And that belief, it made him feel invincible, capable of anything. On September 8, 1985, at just 16 years old, Sean Sellers and a friend decided to take things further. They targeted a stranger, 32-year-old Robert Bauer, a convenience store clerk just doing his job. When Robert refused to sell them beer, Sean pulled out a gun and shot him, point blank. Later, Sean said he just wanted to see what it felt like. As Robert lay dying on the floor, Sean laughed. We giggled about it, he said, about this man's misfortune. We felt nothing but evil, hatred, and anger. But that first kill wasn't enough. 6 months later, on March 5, 1986, he turned that hatred toward the people who raised him. That night, Sean dressed only in black underwear. Easier to clean off the blood, he said. Then he crept into his parents' bedroom as they slept. His stepfather, Paul, never saw it coming. A single bullet to the head. Then Sean turned to his mother, Vonda, and shot her multiple times as she woke in terror. He later said he was angry with her for interfering in his relationship, but he also admitted something even more disturbing, that before the murders, he'd performed a ritual, one that left him with, quote, nothing but cold hatred. When he was arrested, Sean claimed the killings weren't truly his doing. He said he wasn't in control, that demonic forces had taken over. He was just 16 when he was sentenced to death, the youngest person in the U.S. to receive that sentence in over 40 years. Even behind bars, Sean Sellers wasn't done making headlines. From death row, his story took a sharp turn. The once self-proclaimed Satanist suddenly found God. He tossed the dark persona aside and began calling himself a Christian, a changed man, even becoming a prison preacher. Sellers claimed he was born again, that he regretted his past with every fiber of his being. But not everyone was buying that. 2 former wardens and several prison staffers said Sean was simply putting on a show, a manipulator to the very end, performing a transformation they believed was just another tactic to escape his fate. But in the end, there was no escape. On the night of February 4th, 1999, Sean Sellers was led into the execution chamber. He lay down calmly on the gurney, looked out at the people gathered to watch his final moments, and delivered one last statement. All the people that are hating me right now and are here waiting to see me die, he said, when you wake up tomorrow, you're not going to feel any different. You're still going to hate me. But when you wake up and realize nothing has changed inside, reach out to God, He'll be there. His voice didn't tremble. His eyes didn't flinch. Moments later, the injection flowed, and just like that, it was over. But the darkness didn't end there. Number 4, death at the devil's teeth. August 7th, 1972. 16-year-old Jeanette DePalma left her home in Springfield Township, New Jersey. She told her family she was heading to visit a friend. She never made it. At first, no one panicked. Teenagers disappeared all the time. Some ran away. Others came back. But Jeanette didn't. It took 6 weeks before anyone found out what really happened. Her body, or what was left of it, was discovered in a place known as the Devil's Teeth, a rocky cliffside deep within Hudal Quarry. The location already carried a creepy reputation, and what witnesses found only made it worse. Jeanette's skeletal remains were laid out in a coffin-shaped arrangement of sticks. Crosses, small and ominous, were scattered around her. Whispers started instantly. Some claimed a pentagram had been carved into the ground. Others said animal remains surrounded the scene. From that moment, people believed Jeanette had been sacrificed, the victim of a ritualistic killing, and whoever did it was still out there. The police were quick to dismiss any satanic connections, but the public didn't stop talking. And who could blame them? Just 10 months earlier, the state was rocked by the horrifying case of John List, the accountant who murdered his entire family in their Westfield mansion. Now another chilling mystery was unfolding in the same region. Jeanette's cause of death? Still unknown. The coroner found no stab wounds, no gunshots, no broken bones. But there were high levels of lead in her system, and that led some to believe she had been strangled or poisoned. Still, there was no conclusive proof. 2 weeks after her remains were discovered, the press got wind of the story. The Newark Star-Ledger and the New York Daily News ran front-page articles. They leaned into the cult theory. Even Jeanette's pastor told reporters he believed she'd been targeted by devil worshippers. That sent the entire region into a spiral. Springfield Township descended into panic. Parents locked their doors. Children were warned never to wander alone. Stories of secret covens and demonic gatherings flooded local gossip, especially around the nearby Watchung Reservation, long rumored to be a hotspot for occult activity. And some people believed Jeanette wasn't the only one. They said others had vanished, that her case was just the beginning. Over the years, countless theories surfaced. Some believed she was killed by someone in her inner circle. Others were sure it was a local cult. But then in 2021, nearly 5 decades later, a shocking new name came up. Richard Cottingham, the infamous torso killer. He was already serving time for the murders of at least 18 women, and he claims the real number is over 100. Cottingham was active in the same region when Jeanette disappeared. In a letter to a journalist, he suggested he may have picked her up while she was hitchhiking. He even agreed to speak with investigators. But to this day, no official confirmation has been made. And the death of Jeanette DePalma? Still unsolved. Even after all these years, the whispers haven't stopped. The organization Justice for Jeanette is still relentlessly pushing to have her case upgraded, from a mere suspicious death to what they strongly believe was a homicide. According to them, there are still leads to be followed and evidence waiting to be tested. Number 3, the demon within. In Bendigo, Australia, a woman was savagely killed in her own home. But to those who knew her, she was nothing but love and warmth. Her name was Analin Osias, fondly called Loy. She was a devoted mother of 4 and a cherished member of Bendigo's Filipino community. Described as kind, courageous, and deeply loving, Analin poured her heart into raising her children and serving those around her. But behind that peaceful life, something sinister had been building. Analin had been in a relationship with 45-year-old James Pook for about 8 months. But by July 2023, things had fallen apart. His drinking, his aggression. At first, James played the role of a charming, gentle man. But the moment he got comfortable, his mask fell. Analin saw his true self, and she didn't like what she saw. Pook, on the other hand, felt rejected, tossed aside, as though he didn't deserve to be left. And rather than move on, he couldn't let her go. It got so bad, Analin had to seek a protection order against him. It was the most she could do at the time. But if only someone had known that a simple piece of paper wouldn't be enough. October 29th, 2023. James Pook sat alone and drank half a bottle of vodka. Then he mixed it with antipsychotic medication. That night he found the courage, or rather the darkness, to drive to Analin's home. Once there, he smashed a bedroom window, tore off a security plate, and broke into her sanctuary. What happened next was nothing short of savage. He dragged Analin from her bed, smashed her head against the floor. Then, he stabbed her, again and again. Her two young daughters watched in horror as it all unfolded. When it was over, Pook fled. But just hours later, police found him at a nearby reservoir, injured, incoherent, and silent. There was no hiding what he'd done. The evidence was clear. But when he finally spoke in court, he claimed it wasn't his fault. He said he couldn't remember anything, that he'd been possessed, controlled by a demonic voice. He even claimed that he'd heard his late uncle's voice, whispering to him, that Analin was a witch. Forensic psychiatrist Professor Andrew Carroll diagnosed him with schizotypal disorder. He pointed to James's unpredictable rage and tendency toward delusions. But the prosecution, led by Annette Rogers, wasn't buying it. She argued that James had exaggerated his symptoms, trying to use mental illness as a shield. She stressed how calculated and premeditated the murder had been. Then came another bombshell. Turns out this wasn't James Pook's first act of violence. Back in 1999, at just 20 years old, he stabbed a complete stranger 3 times, puncturing a lung. And at the time of Analin's murder, he was already facing charges for assaulting her months earlier. The judge didn't hold back. They called his actions cruel, vicious, and merciless. And they spoke of the lasting pain inflicted, not just on Analin's family, but on her young daughters, who had to witness the horror. In December 2024, James Pook was sentenced to 24 years and 6 months in prison. But this case, as told by True Crimes by Dominic, highlights something more terrifying than one man's brutality. It's a harsh reflection of how often women are being hunted, harmed, and killed by the very people they once trusted. Errol May's dream, Carolyn Miller's vision, Mary Hennessy's nightmare, and countless others who claim they foresaw the horror before it happened. But here's the chilling thread that ties them all together. None of them had enough detail to prevent it. That's the tormenting truth about premonitions, if they're even real. People may sense that something dark is looming, but they never get the who, the where, or the when. The visions are always just blurry enough to be useless. Which brings up a far more disturbing question. If the future is truly written somewhere out there, then what's the point of seeing it if you can't stop it? Number 1, a pact with a demon. Biba Henry, 46, and her younger sister Nicole Smallman, 27, were discovered brutally murdered in a London park. Biba, a dedicated social worker. Nicole, a gifted photographer. 2 women with passion, purpose, and a tight bond that ended in unthinkable horror. All because of a man trying to fulfill a twisted deal he claimed he'd made with a demon. It was June 5th, 2020. Biba's birthday. She and Nicole planned a small gathering with close friends in Friant Country Park, London. It was meant to be a night of celebration. As the party wound down and guests slowly left, the sisters decided to stay, dancing beneath the stars. The final photo of them was taken at 1:15 a.m., smiling, joyful, free. By 2:30 a.m., their phones went dark. They never made it home. When family and friends raised the alarm, the police response was slow, almost dismissive. It wasn't law enforcement who found them. It was Nicole's boyfriend, Adam Stone, who refused to wait. He combed the park himself, desperately looking for clues, and what he found will haunt him forever. A bloody knife, a pair of sunglasses, and then, beneath a tree line, the bodies of the 2 sisters. Biba had been stabbed 8 times, Nicole, 28. The brutality was staggering. It didn't just feel personal, it felt ritualistic. The man responsible would later say he had no choice. 18-year-old Daniel Hussein was arrested nearly a month later. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA at the scene, CCTV tracking his movements, and the most disturbing piece of all, a handwritten contract signed in his own blood. In it, Hussein promised an ancient demon, Lucifuge Rofokal, 6 female sacrifices in return for wealth and power. His demands were simple: win the lottery, rise to greatness. But the price? Blood, and lots of it. The contract wasn't vague or symbolic. It was disturbingly specific. He laid out a plan to kill 6 women every 6 months. Biba and Nicole were only the beginning. The only reason he didn't continue? A deep wound on his hand, one he sustained during the murders. That injury forced him to seek medical help, which ultimately led investigators straight to him. Authorities had known of Hussein long before the killings. As a teen, he was flagged by the UK's Prevent program after accessing extremist content. Between 2017 and 2018, he received support from social workers, health services, and even his own school. But behind the scenes, he was being consumed by something far darker. His greatest influence? An American occultist named Matthew Lawrence, better known online as E.A. Keating. A self-declared master of black magic, Keating ran a digital empire promising power, wealth, and domination, all in exchange for obedience. Hussein became obsessed. He followed Keating's teachings for years, even logging onto his satanic forums just hours before his arrest. Hussein performed the ritual exactly as instructed. He wrote the pact, signed it in blood, chose his victims, and killed. But when the demon didn't deliver, when the lottery winnings never came, all that remained was the guilt and the blood on his hands. In court, Hussein showed no remorse. He claimed to have memory issues, refused to answer questions, denied responsibility, despite the mountain of evidence against him. The jury saw through it. On July 6, 2021, he was convicted on 2 counts of murder. In October, he was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 35 years. The judge didn't hesitate. He said it plainly. This was no random act of violence. It was deliberate, meticulous, and driven by a dangerous obsession with power. A twisted contract signed in blood, carried out without remorse. And that was just one of 5 chilling stories featured here on True Crimes by Dominic. Now let me ask you this. Do you believe in premonitions? Could someone really see a death coming and be powerless to stop it? Or do these warnings only show up after it's too late? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, not just for us, but for the entire community here. When you share what you think, you help others dive even deeper into these dark mysteries. And trust me, we read every word. So tell us, was this a case of demonic influence or just a disturbed young man who used the occult as an excuse? If this episode got under your skin, then we're just getting started. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single story. We upload a brand new video every 2 days, filled with real-life horrors that are often stranger than fiction. Also, please like this video if it gripped you. It helps more people discover our channel and shows the algorithm that stories like this need to be seen. And if you know someone who would be just as shocked or intrigued by what you heard today, do us a favor. Share this video with them. Your support, your likes, your comments, your shares is what keeps True Crimes by Dominic alive and what allows us to keep uncovering the darkest corners of the human mind. So go ahead, dive into the comments, subscribe if you haven't already, and join us again soon for another descent into the shadows, because here, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction, it's darker. See you in 2 days.